we're going to hear from Gabby Farrer. So Gabby is a student from Santa Clara University who has made a video that talks about what happens when the earth is too hot for humans. So Gabby, did you want to talk about the video and the process, or did you just want me to show the video?
I can just speak briefly about it. I did this collage last year for Santa Clara's Turn event, which is another climate change centered event. And it's based off of David Wallace Wells' book, When Will Earth Be Too Hot for Humans? And I know that we're short for time, so we're only going to be able to watch like the first few minutes of it. And it's just pretty heavy, but thank you all for being here and watching.
If you're here today, it's likely that you've already heard about climate change. You probably know of it as a bad thing that is going to cause us lots of harm, brought about by a century of burning fossil fuels and destabilizing the global carbon cycle. However, no matter how well informed you are surely not alarmed enough. It's not just that the planet is warming, it's that it's in crisis. When we talk about climate change, the language is usually centered around environmental degradation and is phrased in a way that somehow removes humans from those that will be harmed by it. Today I'm not talking about the fact that wildlife abundance has decreased by 60% since the 1970s, or about how we're in the 6th largest mass extinction ever with species dying off at 1,000 times the normal background extinction rate. I'm talking about how our species will be affected by this self-inflicted crisis. Climate change could mean the end of our own species. So, when will the Earth be too hot for humans? Our original goal under the Paris Climate Accords was to avoid 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming, which would have already allowed for catastrophic changes. Now our goal is to not pass a 2 degrees Celsius change in global temperatures, but it's likely that we won't be able to. If we continue to emit carbon as we are, it's expected by the start of the next century we could hit anywhere from 4 to 8 degrees Celsius of warming. One of the main consequences of climate destabilization that we talk about is sea level rise, and this is for good reason. The global sea level has risen an approximate 8 to 9 inches in the past 140 years, and almost a third of this change has happened in the past 25 years. It's currently rising at 2.5 times the normal historical rate. Sea levels are rising due to anthropogenic change, which has caused much of our land ice to melt, and a phenomenon called thermal expansion, which is when water expands in size as it gets warmer. Now, this is bad news for us when considering that 8 of the world's 10 largest cities are along the coast, and that 40% of the US population lives in a coastal area that may be vulnerable to sea level rise. So it makes a lot of sense why the topic has dominated the conversation about the threats we will face in coming years. Rising oceans are bad, in fact very bad, but fleeing the coastline will not be enough. The coming changes are going to be much worse than just sea level rise. The following scenarios are examples of what could happen to the planet without collaborative and aggressive action. First, let's talk about heat death. Like all mammals, we need to continually cool down, or else we would overheat and die. In order for us to be able to cool down, the air around us must be cool enough to act as a refrigerant. Rising global temperatures will make large areas of Earth uninhabitable, especially in more humid places due to the fact that humidity raises the likelihood of heat stress. In the jungles of Costa Rica, for instance, where humidity routinely tops 90%, simply moving around outside when it's over 105 degrees Fahrenheit would be lethal, and the effect would be fast. Within a few hours, a human body would be cooked to death from both inside and out. But we don't need to look to the future to see the damage caused by rising temperatures. In the sugarcane region of El Salvador, as much as 1/5 of the population has chronic kidney disease, including over a quarter of the men, the presumed result of dehydration from working the fields they were able to comfortably harvest as recently as 2 decades ago. With dialysis, which is expensive, those with kidney failure can expect to live 5 years. Without it, life expectancy is in the weeks. The 5 warmest years on record since at least 1880 have been 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018, and this is only continuing. Even if we stop global temperature change at 2 degrees warming, many cities in Southwest Asia and the Persian Gulf will become virtually uninhabitable, and the deadly heat waves like those that occurred in 2015 in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and Iran will become annual. At 11 or 12 degrees of warming, more than half the world's population, as distributed today, would die of direct heat. Although we won't reach 11 or 12 degrees warming this century, models that predict future warming bring us there eventually if we continue to burn fossil fuels as we do. Let's talk about our food. For every degree that the planet warms, the yields of staple cereal crops will decline by at least 10%, although some estimates say the decline will be as high as at least 17. If the planet is 5 degrees warmer at the end of the century, we may have as many as 50% more people to feed and 50% less grain to give them.
Thank you, Gabby, for your video. We are going to post the link on our website so folks can watch it.